Hi, everyone, on the MTG Chicago channel. We are so excited to talk to you about our predictions for bans and restricted. But first, who are we? So, Stan.
Well,
All
I'm
yours.
Stan,
And I'm
and
Frankie.
this is my partner Frankie, as he said, and we are Tales from the Tap. So we're a local podcast for the Chicagoland area. I myself am a store owner for Bortat Gaming, where Frank plays, and Sal as well, our buddy who asked us to record this video for him. And we're just going to give our predictions about Modern and Pioneer and what we think it's going to look like. And if you guys like what we're talking about or don't like what we're talking about, let us know in the comments if you disagree or agree. And if you check out our podcast, we'd really appreciate it.
Yeah, specifically about our podcast. Our podcast is made to help people get better at Magic, but specifically within paper. So we are going to RCQs, helping people prep for their local LGS, Pioneer, Standard, Modern, and a little bit of Commander talk. Stan is really our guru of Modern, whereas I'm Pioneer and Limited. And yeah, that's us.
For sure. And we're going to just jump into it because usually our episodes are pretty long, about an hour. And Sal said keep it to 15 minutes.
So, TikTok.
For sure. With that being said, though, Modern, I think we'll jump into first just because it's a little bit easier, I would say. It seems like there are quite a few cards to talk about, but as of the stream that everybody's been talking about, where certain cards were mentioned and kind of referenced, there are a lot of options for bans. A lot of people are looking at the evoke cards like Fury and Grief. I know that Bowmaster specifically was referenced as well. Though what I would say is I think that they should also think of some unbans. Personally, I was actually looking forward to potential unban talks more than ban talks. I know a lot of people hate scam. Personally, I haven't really been that anti-scam. But it is taking up quite a bit of meta shares, so obviously it is what it is at this point. Certain cards I wanted to bring up though were Pyrokinesis and Unmask. With Modern Horizons 3 potentially coming this summer, I believe it's almost confirmed at this point. We are going to see more cards influx into Modern Horizons. People have already kind of said was a mistake. If you really don't like it, if you enjoy it like I do, or if you're a Magic enjoyer like us because we're Giga Chad, then you kind of don't hate on it that much. I mean, there's a lot of cool cards in them. Like Force of Vigor is a really good card, Endurance is a really good card, Ursa Saga, really cool, fun cards. I think we can all agree. But Fury, Solitude, to some degree, Grief are kind of pushing the envelope. I think if they were to give us cards like Pyrokinesis and Unmask in Modern Horizons 3, I'd be a lot happier with the Grief ban because I do like the idea of a turn one free Thoughtseize to combat combo decks if they get too powerful in the future. But Grief is a little bit too oppressive in Modern, especially with the scam package, and we've already kind of seen how that goes. With that being said, I think if they were to just ban Fury, it is already kind of a really big hit on scam to the point where the Grief scam package won't feel as bad. But they also have to address some of the other decks. Fury is a really nice hit though. If they were to ban Fury, it hits pretty much all the top decks. Like Murktide gets hurt a little bit. Definitely Beanstalk gets hurt a lot, or Four Color Omnath, whatever you want to call the deck. Scam gets hurt a lot, etc. To some degree, Rhinos players lose Fury if they're playing it or not.
Living End.
Living End, yeah,
Now.
if they're playing it or not.
Right.
That's partially Living End that you bring up the point is one of the reasons why I don't really want to ban Grief. It really does help Living End, and that deck is kind of struggling.
Oh, agree. Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, whatever they do, I think we can all agree it's going to be exciting news for Modern players in general. It should really shake up the format. Before I get into my specific predictions, I do want to mention some cards that I think can potentially come off the ban list and would shake up Modern in some way. Some of these cards might be a little bit too strong still, but I think most of them are pretty reasonable considering the power level that we're at. No particular order, but some cards that I would look at for potential unbans in the future would be Umezawa's Jitte, Dig Through Time, not Treasure Cruise. Artifact lands in general I think are fine, but if they wanted to pick like one, if I had to pick one, it probably would be like Seed of Synod, just to give blue decks a chance, but also it's a color that kind of goes into Hammer Time. Otherwise the Ancient Den, so make more sense for Hammer Time specifically. I think Punishing Fire is pretty reasonable, especially if they're going to ban Fury, so that there's like some anti-creature stuff that's a little bit oppressive, but not too much. I think Fury is definitely a lot stronger than Punishing Fire, at least in my opinion. I think Ponder could come off. Deathrite Shaman might still be too strong, but I would like to play with it personally. And then Golgari Grave Troll. I know we've seen that one before, but I mean, Dredge is in the dumpster, man. And at the same time, I don't think Faithless Looting would ever come off. I think it's still too strong personally. I'm willing to have that discussion though if you guys disagree, and would love to hear you guys' thoughts. With that being said, I think my personal predictions for this Monday are almost certainly Fury's going to get banned. I think Orcish Bowmasters will also get the axe. And I'm pretty iffy on this, but if they were to unban a card, I think it would be Ponder. I'd like to see Ponder get unbanned because if you look at the top decks in Modern, there is no blue. Blue is in shambles. I talked about this on our podcast. Blue decks used to be everywhere years ago. You'd see like Blue Moon, Chess Guy, or Blue Eye Control. Obviously Splinter Twin, but we're not going to get Twin back. And now there's like nothing. Every deck that plays blue is playing blue as a meme. You know, it's like Omnath. You're blue for Shardless Agent, blue for Omnath. Maybe you have Force Negation or Subtlety in your list.
Right, they're girl decks that like have blue in them.
Exactly.
Right, yeah.
Or whatever. It's always like the worst color. I mean, I've even seen like no Ordowaras in like the 4-color decks. I'm like, man, I really don't care about blue. And it's sad, you know? I think Ponder would be... I think it's time. I think Ponder is a very strong card. Definitely the strongest cantrip. I personally find it stronger than Brainstorm. But they could definitely give us back Ponder. And sure, combo decks might be a little bit scary, but like I said, we still kind of have Grieve. Blue-Red Storm hasn't been anywhere. Blue Eye Control could use some help. Murktide is going to lose Fury already, ideally. And it didn't really gain that much from Preordain. I think it's not going to gain that much more from Ponder in terms of power level. And we could also possibly see some Delver in the format, which would be pretty sweet in my opinion. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I for sure think that Fury and Orcish Bowmasters are going to get hit. I'm really excited about it, specifically because like my problem with Fury, and a lot of people have like been talking about like, okay, well, why is Fury so such a problem? And I think it's because it just blows out creature decks hardcore. Like if Fury just said deal 2 damage to up to 2 creatures, or you know, it deals 4 to a thing, still be a playable card. But the fact that it does divided evenly, and I was telling you this when I was playing Yawgmoth originally, when you were doing Ignoble Hierarchs and Birds of Paradise, and like before Delighted Halfling, it'd be like, oh, okay, I'd go Birds, Ignoble, Fury, whoop, and okay, I scoop. And that's the problem, I think, with the card, is that there are so many cards that got shoved out because Fury exists. And I think that's why Orcish Bowmasters is also going to die, because you can just do the same thing with Orcish Bowmasters, where it's like, oh, they have one of things, shoot it, it's gone. And it has so much other value on top of it. The problem I find, and why I'm nervous and think that Orcish Bowmasters is up in the air a little bit, like I think Fury's gone for sure, but I think Orcish Bowmasters may be a little bit up in the air, just because I don't want Beans and One Rings to just have no checks. And that's my only concern for Orcish Bowmasters leaving. And I actually think that Coffers, which has had a hell of a time in recent, is going to go into the dumps, losing as powerful of a card as Orcish Bowmasters.
What's it called? Orcish Bowmaster for sure is definitely powerful. It's something that could potentially not get banned. I think the reason why I'd like to see it go with Fury is only because Yawgmoth seems to be one of the better not Fury decks, and they are playing 4 of Bowmasters. It's so good for them. If they were to just cut Fury and let Yawgmoth keep Bowmasters, it feels a little bit too strong.
Yawgmoth would be almost like it would replace. I heard someone say this day that they're like, if like Orcish Bowmasters didn't go, Yawgmoth will be the new scam.
Yeah, it kind of feels like that would be the direction it goes. I don't know if it would be as good as what Scam currently is, but I think Bowmasters is definitely enough of a threat that it's probably fine to ban. Although I could see them not banning Bowmasters in the One Ring, specifically because Lord of the Rings is still kind of selling packs. And they have kind of done that in the past with like Hogak and, well, not Hogak, but like Urza, Lord High Artificer, when it was so good with Oko. They were like, well, we could ban Urza, which what people were clamoring for, but it was still selling Modern Horizons packs. So they were like, Well, we're going to ban Mox Opal and Oko, which Oko obviously deserved it, but Mox Opal also kind of took a little bit of a hit.
Wizards too poor to ban Orcish Bowmasters.
Yeah, they're definitely struggling financially. But yeah, I think Orcish Bowmaster kind of makes sense to me personally. Like you were saying, just like all these creature decks, all these 1/1s are just getting like pushed out of the format, and it would probably just be healthier that way. But if they were going to just like start banning a ton of cards with no bans, I could see as many as 5 bans. I could see them realistically. I could see them going Fury, Grief, Bowmasters, Wandering Beans, like something crazy like that. They can really just go.
That could be.
We want to shake up the format, you know.
Hard. Yeah. And I think that if they do like decide to keep Grief, it may go to just like more controlling styles. Like we might see Grief Ephemerate pop back up again.
Oh yeah,
and
for
the
sure.
problem with Grief Ephemerate is that you're not swinging with Grief until like turn 3, but you are ripping a lot of cards out of there because it's flickering.
Yeah, but I think we found that the Orzhov deck wasn't good enough. When Modern Horizons 2 first came out, everybody was doing Orzhov because Ephemerate was like better than like Undying Malice and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I was even playing a lot of Orzhov back then. I was like, maybe I can do Scam and Cabal Coffers, etc. Before we were calling it Scam, whatever.
Sure.
Stoneforge Mystic, etc.
Right.
Like so many good blink targets, and it just like wasn't really quite there. I think a big reason for that is that they don't have Blood Moon, and it feels like Rakdos is better than Orzhov in general in Modern.
Sure.
Blood Moon definitely a big reason.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes. But for now, that's like our predictions for what Modern's going to look like. And then really quick, we'll jump into some Pioneer. So this one I did say was going to be easier than Modern, but it's actually a little bit more up in the air. I think we can both agree that Geological Appraiser is certainly going to get banned.
Gotta go.
Like they pretty much kind of confirmed it. Whoever was doing the stream for Magic wasn't exactly being subtle about the cards they were referencing, but Geological Appraiser,
never gonna talk on camera again. So sorry.
For the people that don't know, Geological Appraiser was the 4-mana uncommon from Caverns of Ixalan that would enter the battlefield, discover 3, and this allowed people to basically turn 3 combo kill with chaining into Glasspool Mimic to get
Eldritch
another
Evolution.
ETB or Eldritch Evolution,
Yeah.
which would let you search for the 6-mana dinosaur that could discover 5, restart the loop, and then you would either finish them with Galta dumping your hand, or what's the name of the creature that gives them all haste? I can't remember, but
I don't know.
There's a black creature from I think it was black at least. There was a creature from Kaldheim. It was red. Red creature from Kaldheim that gives everybody on the team haste, and then you just one shot them. So it was basically just a spot removal check, which is what was mentioned on the podcast or stream for Magic the Gathering. And if you don't have a removal spell for the Geological Appraiser, you pretty much just lose on the spot.
Yeah, the only way that you can stop it is if you're playing Thalia, which is not really in the format. Thalia can stop and like tax the Eldritch Evolution, or if you hit too many Eldritch Evolutions too quickly to where then you don't have the ability to one shot because you've already wasted all of your EEs. But like the percentage of you hitting 4 without hitting other Geological Appraisers or other Discover cards is so abysmally low that it's actually a very, very consistent combo.
Yeah, the deck was extremely consistent, which isn't always an issue, but it is an issue when it's in combination with the fact that 1, dice to removal isn't a really good answer to a card being bad, and 2, the answers for the card, which would be either Thalia or Damping Sphere or Tranith Magistrate, whatever card you're playing for it was a 2-drop that you might get too late or get to play it and they just have a removal spell for it anyway with Bedeck Bedazzle, or it just was like too inconsistent. Like if your answers to a card are way more inconsistent than the combo itself, that kind of feels like an issue to me, especially when it's a turn 3 kill in a format as low power as Pioneer. I think we can agree that turn 3 is a little too fast. So with that being said, Geological Appraiser almost certainly out. Will another card get the X? Possibly Karn the Great Curator. I know that you think that it's for sure going to get the ban, or one of the sideboard pieces.
Yeah, so they had mentioned being able to like have a tool for everything, and that is in reference to Karn. Karn is the only card within Pioneer that like is a toolbox in that way.
Right.
But one of the things that someone else, the other guy, hinted at in case they don't ban Karn is doing an old school thing, which is a ban pairing, where they are saying this card is not banned, but it is banned if you play it with this card.
Yeah.
So they may ban Karn and Pestilent Cauldron being together, which I think could be fine because I don't think Karn without the 2 combo pieces in mono green is too powerful.
Yeah.
But
I mean, even mono green right now has been struggling lately. It's just like a feels bad / unfun archetype almost that people, I mean, Pioneer players have been clamoring for months now to get rid of Karn's Great Creator.
Like a year and a half.
And even though it's not winning, Inverter of Truth was also a losing deck when they decided to ban it as well. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, and I think that the losing is partially because of the uptick of Phoenix and them getting new pieces, but more so because even the Karn combo isn't fast enough for Geological Appraiser.
Yeah.
And so it's the Appraiser combo has probably pushed it out in that way.
Right. I do think though, if they were going to do a banning, it's either going to be Geological Appraiser and almost certainly for that, and then Karn, or they might choose to potentially ban the Chain Veil and Petulant Cauldron. I don't know if they're going to do a pick 2 or whatever where like a card can't be played with another. It would be interesting though. They did say they want to update the ban philosophy, so maybe we'll see something looking like restrictions or certain cards can't play together. I know in other card games they do stuff like that, like in White Schwartz and Yu-Gi-Oh, etc. People at home might be hearing that and going like, huh, you know. But keep your eyes, or keep your mind open to the idea of stuff like that. I mean, WotC in the future, you know, let them cook. You know, maybe they'll give us something interesting. In general, as long as they're doing something good for the format, I think I'll be happy. And if the changes are for the better, whether or not we agree on them, as long as it's for the better, it's, you know, that's what we strive for, to get some good fun Magic for everybody.
Yeah, I think that bringing some new flavor to Pioneer and Modern is going to really be exciting for everyone, and especially I think that was one of the main reasons that they talked about why it will be exciting, is because they were hoping that after the Pro Tour and with the releases of these sets, Modern would change, and it hasn't really. Like, and
to be fair, they only gave us Preordain. Like, they could have gave us some more, but they were too scared.
Yeah.
If they really want to change, I think they would have unbanned like 3 cards. And then if they had to reban a card, it is what it is. I think it's not that bad. I know players don't really like that. Some players, I don't know how everybody at home feels, but I think it's fine to unban a card and then decide later on, okay, we need to reban it. Assuming it's not something obvious. Like, if they were to just unban Dark Depths for no reason, that's kind of dumb. But like a card like Ponder, maybe Deathrite Shaman, maybe Artifact Lands, where we're not really sure if they would be too good. You know, like, people felt Jace the Mind Sculptor was going to destroy Modern and make the format bad, and it's borderline unplayable. You know what I mean? So just something to keep your mind open about. With that being said, my predictions for Pioneer, I personally think it's just going to be a Geological Appraiser ban. If they were to unban, I think the only reasonable card to unban is Smuggler's Copter at the moment. It would be cool if they did, but at the same time, I'm not going to be upset if they don't give us back the Rafflecopter.
Yeah, I think the Copter is just like a little bit better than what the new is, the Subterranean Schooner.
Yeah,
because you're drawing and discarding with Copter, and it flies. But the Schooner is a 3/4 that explores, so you're still getting to like bin something that you might want to if you're playing like Greasefang or something else.
Yeah,
so
sure.
I don't think that it's that much better than what we're getting now.
Right.
And I don't even know if like Greasefang wants to play something as slow as like a 2-drop, because they're already having like Rafine's Informant and other cards that are doing the binning for them to get rid of your Parhelions. So it's like, what thing is Smuggler's Copter going to add to some of those decks? I'm not really sure.
I mean, it could add some consistency and a little bit more of a mid-range plan for those decks for sure, where they already play Asika's Chariot. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't think Smuggler's Copter is a weak card. Definitely like not on the power level of Modern, but for Pioneer purposes, I think we're kind of at that power level where Smuggler's Copter is getting to be pretty reasonable. Although, like I said, if you disagree, let me know in the comments. I definitely think it's still a card that is in contention, you know, so if there is an argument to keep it banned, more or less, I'm not going to like fight you about it.
Yeah, my thought is that they're going to ban Appraiser for sure. But for Pioneer, they're going to do I'm going to go risky and say that they're going to do one of those 2-piecers with Karn. And if they don't, if they just flat say Karn, then my prediction is that they know of a artifact that is coming within the next couple sets, like Karlov Manor or something, that is so broken that Karn will be, like, is close to being a problem now and will be that much more of a problem when it comes. And so if they say Karn, I guarantee that we're going to get a strong artifact too.
Ooh,
like within the next.
Okay, so like a Batterskull's coming out when Stoneforge is legal.
Yeah,
one of those.
Yeah, so that's my thought. For Pioneer, I know we talked about Modern, and I don't want to go back too much, but the only reason I think Deathwatch Shaman will come back one day, please, my love. But I don't think Deathwatch Shaman will come back now, only because I think Run and 6 with that card would be kind of scary with what's leaving, and especially because we're gonna lose Fury. I think that they would be too hesitant to put Deathwatch Shaman into the format when such a good removal for Shaman would be the card they're removing. So that's my only reason why I'm like, I want Deathrite Shaman, but not now.
If they keep Bowmasters, I can see them doing it where like Bowmasters and Shaman kind of like fight each other with a 1-2, but like where Shaman has a 2 toughness. But yeah, I definitely see what you're saying. Also, Shaman you can get with a Swamp, so that's kind of scary as well. I don't personally want to play against like a turn 2 Blood Moon, and my opponent already has a Swamp in play as a Tron player. But one more spicy hot take since you gave one for Pioneer. If they're going to do something cool, please just ban the companion mechanic and give us back Luris. I just want to play Luris in Modern so bad, but I can't. And I was literally playing Traverse Shadow right before they banned it. Super fair, no companion, but they took it away from me because they hate me, specifically me. And I was just having fun. It's not, I don't even think it's particularly good. Maybe Luris in the main deck is still too strong for Modern, who knows? But I was just having a good time playing Luris in the main board. And like you could get Yorion back too if you do that. Just ban the companion at mechanic in general for Modern. You could even do it for Pioneer, honestly, and I wouldn't care. But for Modern specifically, companions was 100% a mistake.
Oh, I think that Yorion's probably fine if we're losing some of the pieces to the 4-color Omnath piles.
Yeah, and it would be like a fun one-of.
That's when it was
subtlety. That's when Solitude.
That's when it was abysmal. When it'd be like, oh man, every deck is playing 4 Solitude, 4 Fury, some 3 Endurance.
The 80 card piles were disgusting. 80 card 4-color deck scares me. I
still have nightmares.
Disgusting. 60 card 4-color deck, I sleep. Like whatever. But I don't know. That's just the Tron player in me. But 80 card pile, no man, I'm scared of that. Anyways, like I said, ban companions, just the mechanic. Give us back Yorion, give us back Luris. Hot take. Anyways, that's all I have. What about you?
That's it. Thank you so much for tuning in to MTG Chicago. And please, if you enjoyed a little bit of what we talked about today, it is just a sneak peek at what we do on Tales from the Tap. So, go ahead and check us out there too.
Have a good one.